Japanese urban myths. This one is called Tomino's Hell, and it's by Nightmare Tales, guys. Make sure to subscribe to him. Subscribe to me if you like reaction videos. I love Japanese urban myths. I think you'll like this one too. Let's get into it, guys. Tomino's Hell. The FM slaying?
Late 90s.
Oh, 1096 FM.
Outskirts of London, England, from 7 to
Radio
10 p.m.
station.
aired the Underground Solution Show on 1096 FM. It was prime time, and the program had an extremely large and loyal following that tuned in each week to listen to the bizarre mix of ambient tunes, experimental music, and general commentary and banter.
All right.
On June 13, 1997, a
was a
horrible incident
murder.
occurred at the station, to which there were no witnesses, and the events that took place could only be pieced back together.
Professor
from the
Dan
show's
Blacka?
tape recordings.
that was
At
from
7 p.m.,
another
the show began as usual at the
animation
conclusion of the
program.
ambient zone, with the presenter of that program exiting the station and leaving the host of the Underground Solution, Jarvis Maddox, alone. It was the last time anyone ever saw Jarvis alive.
Of course.
For the next 90 minutes, an eclectic mix of random noises was conveyed across the airwaves. That was until the phone rang, and Jarvis had received his first call of the night.
Okay.
The caller spoke curtly. "You should have received my letter today. Why won't you read it?" Jarvis was confused. What letter? I didn't receive any letter. "Liar," the voice spat back. "Is this how you treat your loyal fans?" Wait a second, Jarvis started. And then the line went dead. He stared at the console for a moment before apologizing to his listeners, and then asked them to stay tuned for the new music ahead, when he heard a crash from the station offices.
Uh-oh. Should have read the letter, if you even know what he
He
means.
turned the music back up and went to investigate.
Right.
He called out once, then twice, to no reply, before turning the light on and making his way down the
I want to
hallway
believe.
towards the offices. He turned another corner and called out again, to no reply once more,
Oh, man.
before flicking the light switch on and quickly scanning the room.
I'd be so
There was
haunted,
no one
man.
there.
I'd be so
There
haunted.
was, however, a large stack of records on the floor that had fallen off a desk, and as he approached them to pick them up, another stack fell to the ground, nearly
Ghosts?
giving him a heart attack. He laughed and then grabbed a bunch of them. As he did so, he noticed, out of the corner of his eye, a letter in his pigeonhole.
Ah.
He was sure wasn't there when he came in.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it? Returning to the desk, just as the song was ending, he faded out the music and flicked the microphone back on. He then told the listeners that the previous caller was absolutely right. He had indeed received some mail.
All right. Who checks the
Tearing
mail
it open,
regularly?
He noticed that there was
Maybe out
no
of business,
return
I
address,
guess.
and that the paper stock it was written on appeared to be handmade,
Tomino's
like
Hell.
old Japanese washi paper.
Oh, wow.
He informed his listeners
Handmade
that it
paper?
looked like someone had sent him a poem entitled Tomino's Hell. His eyes scanned it, and he quickly realized that this was no ordinary poem. It was horrific.
Oh, my.
He read the first verse to give his listeners a taste of its tone. The elder sister vomits blood, younger sisters breathing fire, while sweet little Tomino just spits up the jewels.
What?
He then stopped, and then asked them for a quick poll by calling in if they wanted to hear more.
Wow.
He set a song to play while continuing to read the rest of the poem to himself.
Right.
It was disgusting, shocking, and pure evil it seemed. However, something compelled him to go on.
Right.
As he sat back in his
Call
chair,
waiting. Wow.
his switchboard rapidly lit up, and he was pulled out of his trance.
People want to
He
hear
was
it.
convinced his listeners wanted to hear more.
Sure.
He answered a few calls,
Uh-huh.
and each and every one of them begged to hear the poem.
Right. Of course.
All bar one.
Why wouldn't you want to hear
A
it?
lady's voice, almost in tears, pleaded with him not to read it aloud on air.
Oh.
She explained that the poem was based on an old Japanese curse,
Oh.
and that if read out aloud, Jarvis would surely die, and his soul would suffer eternally in hell.
Oh, no.
Jarvis thought this was hilarious.
Oh, gosh.
The lady was now in a panic, and
No.
tried desperately to warn him of the horrible repercussions.
Jarvis, don't do it.
Before he laughed her off and hung up.
Don't do it. Jarvis.
Jarvis then went on to read the poem in its entirety that night.
Jarvis is going to get
and
eaten.
what happened next will never fully be
The
explained.
devil, boy. The devil is
Over the
coming for
next
you.
hour, an unprecedented amount of unfortunate events occurred in the city of London.
Uh-oh.
However, it was never confirmed just how many of the victims had been listeners of the show.
Ah.
It was written off as a mere coincidence by the authorities. However, in the months that followed, the general public could not understand how so many people from so many walks of life could fall ill, have horrible accidents,
because they were listening to the radio
die
station
in such awful ways so quickly. The radio broadcast had fallen silent soon after the reading of the poem that night.
Sure.
And Jarvis himself was found deceased at his desk, his entire
Beheaded?
head severed off.
Oh!
With such clean precision, it still baffles medical professionals to this day. And the poem he had read aloud, well, that was not found at the scene.
Of course
It
not.
had vanished.
Of course.
Without a trace. A week later, after a brief hiatus, the station came back on air and continued to broadcast, with the host of the show that was once prior to Jarvis's taking over the primetime slot
Right.
of 7 to 10. Never once failing to open the show in Jarvis's memory by reading a brief prayer from his notebook, made from old Japanese washi paper.
Oh, he did it. He did it. He wanted to take over the radio station. That's why he put the letter out so that that would happen. Naughty, naughty, naughty. Foul play, guys. But using a Japanese legend to murder somebody is kind of interesting, right? Not regular murder. You just got to do it the right way. You got to do it the creepy animated stories way. Nightmare Tales, you guys. Make sure to subscribe to him. Subscribe to me too if you like reaction videos. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off. We'll see you next time.